Hi, welcome to the small group discussion, Unit 4, Concepts of Teaching and Education by Santos, Gamez, and Kim Mozley.
By Paulo Freire. The banking concept of education. In the banking concept of education, there are different types of education concepts which create consciousness in society and the power of these methods. Teacher-student. Teacher-student relationship in banking education concept, the teacher is the one who delivers the content and the student just listens, creating a scenario of I talk, you listen. Narrative education. Freire mentions that the power of words in a narrative form serves as a memory method in education using the banking concept, where the learner records and repeats something but does not know what it really means. Education, seen as a banking concept. Picture a teacher in a classroom with all the desks aligned, facing the front as he is writing on the board, while the students are copying each and everything he is writing, in most cases not knowing what it really means. Teacher-student contradictions. The consequences of these concepts sooner or later arise. If the learner soon becomes stagnant and passive. Bank clerk educator. As the educator knows that the learner is memorizing information, this makes the educator think he or she is in control. Continuing with the main points of Chapter 8. Oppression. Factor used towards the students that make them believe they know the information until they find out it was just a form of control over them, which later forms frustrations when they can't achieve goals to adjust to society. Education used as a stimulation for students' credulity. According to Freire, the students are filled with oppression, where the educational method created type of domination which makes them adapt to this oppression. Liberating education. When it comes to banking education concepts, according to Freire, there are those who deny this type of method and prefer a more open and conscious education. Problem-posing education. In first terms, make the learners think about what is being presented to them to develop skills as critical thinkers. On the contrary of banking education, where the student is just a machine receiving information. Banking education used in other cultures. As Freire describes the methods and affects the banking concepts of education, he gives examples which are important, such as members from other cultures who understand the concept of reality instead of what they have been taught. A short phrase of Paulo Freire. In the banking concept of education, knowledge is a gift bestowed by those who consider themselves knowledgeable upon those whom they consider to know nothing. Freire's concept on the banking of education makes us think in how it is affecting today. How are we teaching our classes and what is being taught to us? Rethinking the past and planning for the future as we consider these methods and how it affects the students and education. Chapter 9 by Susan Ohanian on Stir and Serve Recipes for Teaching. What makes a good teacher? Have you ever thought about that? In this chapter, Susan Ohanian talks about different situations she has run into along her career. There are people nowadays that want to become a teacher, and to some it seems as a joke or just another simple job. Ohanian mentions how it is important for well-trained teachers to be a part of every school. New ideas and motivations are needed, and especially working for vocation. Children need real teachers. Recipes to make food are fairly easy to come by, but a good trained chef with experience will be the one to carry out this recipe for success. There are no recipes to become a good teacher or run a classroom. It all comes to how well the teacher is prepared and have that passion for teaching. Who really worries about the students and their success? As these solo teachers fill up the classrooms, there is a greater opportunity the children slowly are being forgotten in the sense of how they are learning and what they are learning. These are the ones who want to know just the test grades instead of the quality of education the children are receiving. Curriculum. A change is far to come, as Ohanian mentions, that every moment was a time for new creation, even though she had to use the same assignment for many years. Student motivation is needed in these kinds of situations. The teachers must reinvent, actualize, and create something new out of something that has been given to them, such as a recipe. When you have the same ingredient in one recipe, then you find out that great recipes include that same ingredient. Something new can be created. Continuing with the main points on chapter 9. Helping the children find out what their interests are. If a teacher tells a student what to do, the student might not end up doing it without the correct motivation or discipline. An interest can be developed as a motivation to have something to follow as they execute different tasks. How teachers get the job. Teachers getting the job is one thing, and another is to keep updating materials, renovating methods, reinventing projects, and most important of all, helping the children succeed by adapting methods that already exist and making them fun to learn. Understanding instead of asking is in comparison to when people ask you which cake is the easiest to bake. There is no hard or no easy course to teach or take. The intention of the educator and student is to create a learning atmosphere that can reach many places by simply doing what no other has done before. Research and collaboration are crucial factors to the type of understanding which can find out by asking, but they will never know if they don't really try it. A recipe to success. Innovative ideas such as this one make the educational purposes more interesting. Learning from your own experiences enriches the way of finding out what your interests are and the reaction of these towards the students. A perfect example is when a recipe is passed from generation to generation. The ingredients will become obsolete and difficult to find, making the person look to integrate new ingredients into the recipe and therefore strive to making it better every time.
There are many factors that go into determining the success or failure of a student. According to William Sanders, who is a professor at the University of Tennessee, his research concludes that an effective teacher is the factor that counts the most. Effective can be a broad term. What does an effective teacher have? The former president of Clark University, Richard B. Trina, researched the biographies and autobiographies of prominent 19th and 20th century Americans. He researched their stories to try and find clues as to what their ideas were on effective teachers. The most memorable teachers had the following traits. They were enthusiastic, they genuinely cared about the growth and accomplishments of their students, they had a distinctive character trait, and they provided meaningful learning experiences, and they were highly qualified. Henry Giroux is an American scholar and one of the founding theorists of critical pedagogy. Critical pedagogy theorizes that teachers should be more than just educators of academics, but also encourage students to question within themselves how their education can make a difference in their lives and the lives around them. This idea proposes that education is the key to the betterment of a democratic society as a whole. He suggests that the reforms in place today in education are not beneficial to society as a whole, but only benefit the people at the top. He stated that teachers that empower, encourage, and support students as critical thinkers are transformative teachers. They also are reflective on their practices and reevaluate to adjust accordingly. And they teach students to be active, critical citizens. Why do we need transformative teachers? If teachers are allowed to be transformative intellectuals, then society as a whole would benefit. The benefits of education go beyond social status and income. Educated people tend to contribute more positively to society by helping others and being more civic minded.